Hello and welcome to the Jerome Bee Farm. It's July 29th, 2017. The biggest thing going on here is basically we haven't got a good rain since mid part of May, I believe. We're right in the middle of a dearth, so doing hive inspections you really got to be careful because robbing starts pretty quick. Haven't been doing a lot of inspections. One thing I've recently done is I moved my last two nukes to 10 frame deeps. So that one right there in the center, I did that last night after it cooled off a little bit. And I'm going to put a medium on that today on top of the inner cover so I can feed it internally. And I also did the same thing over here. There was the next to the end hive there was a nuke, and I put it into a 10 frame deep, and you can see I put a medium on that and above the inner cover, and there's a feeder in there. So I'm going to do that to a couple more over here. Then I'm going to do a quick little update on this tiny swarm that's back there in the back and see what's going on with them. Okay, quick background on this hive. It was a split that I pulled, and they made their first queen. I found the virgin queen. She did not return. I put another frame of eggs in there, and they pulled the second queen. I found her, and she's been bred, so and she's laying now. So this queen is half native Oklahoma and whatever's around in this area, and also half the queen from California. So the eggs were from the California queen. Flower Meadows, I think, is the name of the place where I got her. So the California queen, she laid real well towards the end of the spring, and they pulled in a lot of honey after the main nectar flow. So I thought that was interesting. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to put a feeder on there. I also wind must be switching to the north. Airplanes are coming in headed north. So I do feel kind of a north breeze. Feels pretty good. So I also, instead of putting a solid bottom board on this, it has a screen bottom board and it's completely open. In the fall, I'll put the insert in there to close it off. So I'm not going to go in here. I'm just going to show you how I do this feeder setup. So I leave the screen board on here. I'm sorry, I leave the inner cover on here. Put a medium. And I have these plastic containers. All this is if you eat Chinese food, you get a egg drop soup to go or some soup, that's what they put it in. And I took a 1/64 inch drill bit, drilled all these holes, and I fill this up with sugar water, set it on 2 blocks of wood in there upside down right next to this hole. So here's the 2 blocks of wood. You just set them in here next to the hole. Because when you put this in here, you don't want it dripping down this hole, because it'll dribble a little bit at first. This is 50-50 mix, and there's just a little bit of Pro Health in there. About a teaspoon per gallon. And I put the Pro Health in there mainly to keep the sugar water from mildewing. You see a little bit dribble there, that's okay. I'm going to put a piece of duct tape over this front hole here so robber bees can't come in there and start feeding on this. So So that's it for that type of feeder setup. I've been going to this since in the fall and in the dearth, so other bees don't get to that entrance feeder. Those entrance feeders are bad about causing robbing. I try to use those more in the spring. So I'll check back in here in 2 to 3 days. Okay, here's the tiny swarm. Last time I was in here was July 25th, and they were starting queen cells. So I want to take a look and see how they're doing. Still quite a bit of activity in the front. And I don't have a hive tool. Here we go. It's hard to get the exposure set in here because it's part in the shade and part in the sun. So I have done a feeder just like that other hive I just did in here, except I have the containers setting on the blocks of wood that's right on top of the frame, so you kind of see that in there. So I'm going to I have an inner cover now since I moved those other nukes to 10 frames, so I have an inner cover available. So I'm going to put that on top of that and put that feeder on top of those on the inner cover. There's still a little bit of syrup in there, so I want to be careful with this and not spill it around here, because other bees will go crazy and start robbing. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in here. I just want to check out these queen cells and see if they're capped off. So here's one here. It's a capped off queen cell. Not sure that's in the picture. Oh, that's too bright. There we go. See that queen cell there? It's kind of stubby. If I had a lot of queen cells to pick from, I might just pop that off of there. So here's the other side. There we go. See that one there? So I'm holding it upside down, so they normally go down. So it looks like we've got one on the other side and two on this side. So that makes the 3. Okay. Going to put this back in here exactly the way it was. So according to my calendar, those queen cells should emerge August 5th, depending on how old the eggs were when I brought them and put them in here. So I'm going to put this inner cover on here. So I'm going to feed on top of this versus on top of those frames. So when you do this, be careful not to spill anything outside the hive. Keep it clean. Keep other bees away. If they get wind of this, it'll look like a swarm right here. And this little hive here would probably not survive that. So there's no way for other bees to get in because I closed off the little vent. There's not enough bees in there for it to be overcrowded and overheat anyway. So and it's back here in the shade most of the time. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it. I'm only going to do for today. The sun's coming up, it's getting hot. I'm sweating like crazy and I'm hungry. So I'm going to call it a day for this Saturday. Next video will be in August. It's hard to believe it's going to be August already. So it seems like it wasn't long ago we were out here making splits in the spring and getting things going and expanding and getting ready for the honey season. We actually had a decent crop even though it was so dry, but only 4 hives produced honey. But we do still have quite a bit of honey out here that we can get in the fall once it gets capped. And hopefully it tastes okay. Last time it was this dry, it tasted horrible from the bitter weed around here. So thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. If you don't, let me know and tell me what I need to do to make it better. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.